What's cracking, people? It's your baby mama's favorite cousin T-Taw. And today, I wanted to respond to a Patreon subscriber's question. He wanted to remain anonymous, but I thought this was a great question to present in the YouTube space. And his question was this: are blue check marks the select of the virtual world? I thought that was a great question. Does having a blue check mark as a man in the online space, social media world that we live in, does that automatically qualify you as select? Meaning, will you be picked first? Do you get more attention? Do you have the ability to leverage that in your favor? So my initial response to that is I don't have a complete answer for that, because I don't have, the requisite blue check mark to know the ins and outs of what that entails. But what I do have is a certain set of skills now. But what I can tell you is that my experience with social media and leveraging social media platforms in order to present the type of image and persona that I want towards a woman that I desire to acquire translates into me using a separate, for example, a separate Instagram profile for promotional purposes, the business side of Cousin T-Taw, content creator, and then having a separate, more curated profile that I link to dating apps, and that one doesn't have more than 100 followers, so it certainly wouldn't qualify for a blue check mark. But the type of pictures and videos and posts that I make on that are all geared towards one thing. This is the showpiece that you will be getting if you swipe right on this. All right, and it has not failed me as of yet, and so it's effective in achieving the outcome that I have it for. Now, that being said, when I think about the blue check mark or the badge, or however you want to frame it, depending on the platform, I can't help but think back to something that a couple of dating and relationship coaches in this space have relayed about their conversations with coaching clients, and the coaching clients that may be well-to-do or high earners, and they have a certain lifestyle that would be very attractive to the average woman, especially a higher end woman that these men were seeking to attract. And I think about Ron Wills, and I of course think about Alan Roger Currie when they mention that they suggest that their coaching clients who may have luxury vehicles not show up on dates in those luxury vehicles. Show up in a conventional sedan, or even something that may be out of date, just to see what the reaction is of their date, just to prove that their date isn't there for the status, the clout, the resources, or just for the flashiness that his lifestyle can afford. So in these examples, the lifestyle, the luxury items, the resources that would be presented would be comparable to the quote-unquote blue check in those scenarios. But the men in those scenarios genuinely want to meet women that they desire to acquire, and the women who they desire, they want those women to desire them in return for who they are, who they present as, without all of those fancy things. Now, let's take that a step further and reference a book written by the gentleman who introduced the terms select and non-select to the manosphere itself, none other than the film master Ron Wills. And on page 86 of his book, Nice Guys and Players, he really summarizes the potential blind side or blind spots that could come with leading with lifestyle, leading with resources, and ultimately leading with your status without truly developing the person who exists outside of those things. We'll get back to that concept in just a moment, but I wanted to quote a couple things from page 86, second paragraph. He says this: wearing a mask, we're talking about the mask man, the one of two of the select men that he refers to in Nice Guys and Players, the second one being Mr. Goodbar. He says this: wearing a mask can get a man far in American society. No truer words were spoken. Gentlemen, we know that this book was published. This edition was published in 2000. Okay, this is before the onset of a lot of social media platforms. Certainly before the blue check mark existed. But you can truly remove the word mask and insert check mark. Wearing a check mark can get a man far in virtual spaces today. All right, continuing, it says this: he can hide his pain, and his mask can project the confidence necessary to attract women and success. There is a price to pay for success in this manner, a Faustian bargain, a deal with the devil. The same mask that brings a man success will also prevent him from obtaining true happiness. We all want to be loved for who we really are, and not the mask or checkmark we wear in everyday society. Gentlemen, no truer words have ever been penned. And so the last part that I want to issue with this particular response to the question is this: what happens when you reach 50,000, 100,000, 250,000, 500,000 followers? You qualify for the blue check, and I'm posting a graphic that shows the verification process that is required for that. So anybody interested, go for it. What happens when you achieve that particular status? Because it is definitely a status, right? It's a confirmed status, at least in the online society. What if after all that, October 4th, 2021 happens, and there is a major outage across multiple social media platforms, and all of the followers and the blue check mark and all the postings and all of these things, the locations that you've traveled to, the food that you've eaten, the people that you've interacted with, the nice cars that you leaned against are gone for however long, 8 hours, 8 days, 8 months, however long. What do you do then? What is it that you need to rely upon in order to function as someone who's on the path of masculine mastery? Of course, that is game. Of course, that is game. You need to rely on the techniques and the tools that you've acquired, the verbal skill sets, the physical presentation born by going to the gym in a dedicated fashion, paying attention to your nutrition, curating your outfit to fit that frame in a way that arouses and attracts the type of women that you desire to acquire, being up on your fragrance game so that your complete profile in real life stands out. Your complete profile in the real world, in reality, is a representation of what you are presenting to potential targets. That is the ultimate blue check mark. That is the ultimate sign of a masculine master, of an attractive man who knows who he is, who's confident in his own physical skin, not just his virtual skin, not just his virtual persona, which is good for its applications, which is a great tool that should be leveraged. Let's be honest. If we're all, if we are offered the opportunity and qualify for that blue check mark, we definitely should consider getting that. As a business owner, you definitely want to apply that extra component of verification to your brand. That's a great brand mark, but it is not the person. And so the recommendation or the takeaway from this response would be to not allow that to define who you are as a man who's on his journey of masculine mastery. Because at the end of the day, when it's all said and done and the device is logged off and you're talking face to face with an actual person, do you want her to have images of what she can get from potentially leveraging the status of your blue check mark out of plenty of blue check marks that are in her DM? Trust me, gentlemen, this is a side note. Watching various videos and hearing testimonials from men who have the famous blue check mark or whatever verification badge, depending on the social media platform, and they, talk to attractive women, and more often than not, that woman who has chosen to entertain this particular check mark, if she were to open her DMs, you would see an entire row of blue check marks vying for her attention and looking to leverage that virtual social standing into a potential meeting with that woman. So at the end of the day, gentlemen, what's it going to be? Confidence versus charisma, mystery versus mastery, a filtered, highly curated, virtual online version of yourself, or the in the flesh, in the moment, living, breathing, fit person who exists and moves in real life? You know what my position on that is, gentlemen, but let me know what you think. What do you think about the question, are blue check marks the select of the virtual world? Sign off in the comments to let me know what you think. And as always, this is your man, Cousin T, aka the Alpha Wingman, saying, stay sharp and mission focused. Later.